who am I going to say?
Because I want to be a purveyor of hope. That's my.
Well, I mean,
that's what I want to do.
I don't know for sure.
I don't know.
I don't know what God does. I don't know if when every knee is bowed and every tongue confesses, maybe they're saved then.
I
don't put anything past God. Now that's not doctrine. I don't know. I don't believe that, and I can be called a heretic.
Some of the stuff we're talking right here, some of it we've got scriptural premise for, and some of it we're
hoping.
We're supposing from the preponderance of evidence that we see about Jesus. If you look at all of what that you see about him, it just doesn't seem likely that all those things are going to happen. But this is not a
I know some of y'all are probably already upset.
Yeah.
But don't be upset with us. We're just blabbing. It's like we're just talking. We don't even realize you are listening until we look at the camera up there.
There's a guy that I know, we call him Mike, who he'll end up being on death row here pretty quickly.
No.
He was raised in the church, and his trials will be coming up here pretty soon. And he murdered one man. He was super high on drugs. Broke in the house. Didn't think anybody was there. Got confronted. Killed one man and just about killed the other man. And he's going to be locked up forever now, or on death row. And has expressed to me that his sincere desire to be in right relationship with God. And man, we prayed with Mike, and we got. I mean, I believe the Lord forgave him. Absolutely.
Of course.
He has to pay his price,
right?
The penalty to society for what he did, and society's going to exact their price. They will. But there is no sin that God can't forgive.
Oh no.
There is the sin that He can't forgive.
But sins have different penalties, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not believe with God there is a worse sin and a better sin.
No,
I think because He said if you think it in your mind, you think you've committed sin because you've committed adultery. I tell you, He basically said you guys hadn't read the fine print.
Well, but
when you think you've done it.
There's sins of commission, there's sins of omission.
Yeah.
There's some things that I commit, I do. I go in that place, I make that happen. I commit. Some things I didn't do. I should have done, I didn't do.
Right.
They were omitted.
But there's still sins.
They were omitted. Some of those things is where you get to that gray area where someone says, I didn't pray enough. That's a sin, because he said pray every day. Paul wrote. Well, then you have to say, well, is that a doctrine?
Lord.
And we got to be careful, folks, or we can turn the New Testament into a book of Pharisees.
And then you're too busy watching your feet to see where you're going. It reminds
me. Your brother's feet.
It reminds me of that song, "Be careful, little feet, where you go." Wait, how can you watch your feet and still see where you're going? God doesn't want you. He wants you to be free. It was for freedom that Christ has set us free. Galatians 5:1. I do remember that one because I wrote a song about it.
Think of it this way: who would want to be in a relationship with anyone, friendship, marriage, whatever, that it was a minimalist deal where they came in and said, "Okay, I need to know, Mark, what's the minimum I have to do to maintain our friendship? I need to know. How often will I have to call?
Yeah.
How often will I have to, if you're in a marriage, how often do I have to say I love you? How often is it going to be required that I talk, or that I want to know the minimum, because I want to know, well, who would want that? Who would want to say, I want to just do the minimums, the barelys?
No.
None of us want our kids to say, I just barely passed and that was my only goal. We don't want that.
No.
Well, a relationship with Jesus shouldn't be, what can I do and still go to heaven?
Yeah.
Because that's based on a minimum
Well, you
mentality.
can do everything, according to Paul. Grace is a license, but you shouldn't use it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, he said all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. Yeah.
Belching loud in a restaurant is lawful, but it's not very polite.
That'll thin your friends down quickly.
Yeah.
I don't want to be with that lecherous person.
Actually, I might. I think it'd be pretty funny.
Well, if you ever have too many friends, go, all right, I need to clear them out here a little bit.
It's like getting rid of some of your, what do they call it on Facebook when they purge? When they get rid of, you're not on Facebook, are you? No.
Every time I get on, people want to counsel. Every time I get on.
Well, that's just because you're so smart. They want to counsel.
Oh,
Well,
I get
but
on, and I remember I got on and had like 100 friend requests in just a few minutes, and this lady said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're on here now. I need 3 hours of your time to go through this and this and this."
3 hours? What's that mean? Three or
three,
three?
three, and I was like, "Oh, sweet
Oh man,
Jesus, no!" And then that's their way to do an end around to not have to call the church or make an appointment or anything. One of the doctors at the church, he said I had to get off because people would come on and they're asking me,
medical question.
Yeah, and doc, can I see you tomorrow? And if you care about people, you'd like to answer. But I mean, you've got like 500,000 viewers. You can, or people that follow you. You can't answer everybody. And I mean, some will say, I want a personal answer from you. How would you do that?
No,
you can't.
I didn't write my own mother. Why would I write? I mean, I don't write letters.
Right.
I called her.